right, what's up, everybody? Video Rot number 34, getting into the rhythm. It's got a name now, but this is number 34. If you guys are listening to this, it's weird because the last episodes we posted were out of sync. You'll notice that I put out the Salute Your Shorts episode, and then our last episode came out. You got a double dose last week because I forgot all about the Salute Your Short because I got all sick and stuff. So I think it says Salute Your Short is episode 32. Just ignore that.
I think so.
That's what it says, but just ignore that. I mean, I know we did that some weeks back, but welcome. As usual, we record these, record and live stream these every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. That's when you guys can join us, be a part of the live show. Otherwise, it gets edited for the following week to go up in a bridge version. But anyway, we decided we were going to continue kind of what we did last week. We wanted to talk about the evolution of tech. Last week, we focused primarily on movies and home video, film watching media, and all that stuff. And I had a feeling it was going to be robust, and we just decided to just do that one because it took the whole show. This episode, I wanted to talk about the same thing, but music. But before we get into all that, I just want to shoot the breeze. I have a few topics I want to go over. Totally unplanned, but when we were just sort of pre-riffing, waiting to start the show, we were talking about the annoyance of eating on podcasts or just smacking in general. And I just discovered it's an actual medical condition, but I can't. What's the name? What is it called?
Misophonia.
Misophonia. Miso-horny. Why is it called misophonia, dude?
I don't know. My wife has had it all her life, so she has it really bad, and it kind of rubbed off on me, but it's even worse for her.
Yeah, but when I just thought it was a general thing people get annoyed at, but when I was listening to somebody talk about the definition and the medical terminology of it, it made sense because they said it's not like you get annoyed. It's like it triggers anger. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. Because it's not like because there's other things I'm annoyed, right? If somebody farts while you're eating, that's annoying, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Yeah, there's annoyances. But yeah, there's something that just induces rage. And I don't know what like someone who's smacking. You just have violent thoughts. Like you just want to hit them in the face. And now I know why. So now I feel like I'm justified. I don't feel like I'm a terrible person because I'm a medical case. But
it drives me nuts. But yet there's this guy on Facebook that I follow, and he's like notorious for like lip smacking. I'm gonna send you his link. His name's Cali Muscle, dude. And he sits here.
I know him.
Yeah, he sits there and eats like
dude.
And he's like lip smacking and eating all the sauces. And then he's farting while he's eating, dude. Just like so random, dude.
Cali Muscle's that like prison dude that works out in the parks and shit, dude. Yeah, he works out in the yeah. Dude, I used to watch him a lot and all those guys. I don't know. I just thought it was a general etiquette thing, like on podcasts too. You don't eat. Mac and Zach drive me crazy doing that because we'll be streaming and stuff, and they'll be eating a snack or trying to eat their dinner, and I'm just like, you guys have seen me on streams with them. I'm like, I get really annoyed and I show my irritability with it. I'm like, look, we'll just wait to fucking start because you guys just need to, because I'm going to mute everything. I have a couple of podcasts I listen to. You'd think the big podcasts would be more professional. There's a couple I listen to, man, where there's guys that'll just start snacking, and I'm like, you just lost me. I'm out. I'm not listening to your show now because I can't fucking do it. My good friend from back home in the last state I lived in, I used to call him the Todd of Springfield. Love the guy to death. He used to almost like intentionally do it. It seemed like it was intentional because it was so exaggerated, but I think that's just the way he ate. Especially the more when he drank. When he drank, it got worse. He'd literally go like, oh fucking shit. You ever watch The Simpsons, dude, and how they eat, dude? Yeah. They all just like pigs in a trough. It's so funny. But it absolutely just drives me. And that's why going to the movies, I think, is also such a chore now because you have to give a pass. It's because it's the movies. I get it. But if you're going to go see a quiet movie, listen, if it's a quiet movie, that's the worst. And you just hear everybody smacking next to you. And I try to get a seat away from people, and I hate it when it's packed, or I hate it when someone buys the freaking seats next to you. I'm like, great. And they're just smacking. It's one thing to talk. I hate that too. Talking the whole movie. Yeah. But then, it's just like, I can't do it, man. I know there's nothing I can do about it because it's their
You know,
right to eat the
popcorn's
snacks.
bad enough, but you have the one jackass in the theater that has the Sour Patch Kids wrapper, dude, or it's like the crinkle, like, and they're trying to do it all quietly just to get like one little thing out.
It's terrible.
Oh,
And I don't know, how do you guys watch ASMR videos? How are those so popular? Like, because it's one, I guess I don't mind the whole scratching stuff or like crinkling stuff, but part of it is the smacking, the the smacking of the lips and stuff like that. I'm like, how do you guys do it? And I just don't know. But yeah, it makes me very angry. So that was just a fun topic. I'm glad I have a name for my condition, but
yeah,
is
you
that
know
a
what?
real? Is it really a medical condition,
Yep.
or did we just call it something to cop out? You know what I mean? Because it
Uh,
sounds.
that I don't know, but my wife will be happy that you have it too.
Yeah, I mean, but like, what? Who determined that? Oh, yeah, this isn't just like a common annoyance that you have and you share with a lot of people. It's a medical condition because it's like,
Because so many people have it.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but why? But there's a lot of things people are annoyed at too.
No, but it's not an annoyance, like you said. It's anger.
I know, but but who is to say that your anger is not just a strong annoyance? No, I'm with it. I'm just like, who actually has the authority to say that? Like, how can you prove it?
I don't know. Originally, I thought it was crazy too, but no, I
want
totally
to
understand.
I have to storm out if it's because it's like you run the risk of looking like an asshole because if everybody
Mhm.
else in the room doesn't feel the same way you do, you're just the hothead asshole and being unreasonable. So you can't make a scene, so you end up kind of like passively aggressively walking off and being an asshole anyway. But that's all I can do is walk away because it's like I can't fucking do it, you know. And of course you end up hurting people's feelings sometimes and they get offended.
Oh, who
like
cares?
I gotta fucking leave the room, guys, because I cannot fucking stand the sound of this, or I'm gonna fucking do something bad. So I'm gonna, because when they won't stop, and then they get all offended. So it's like, I'm sorry, you sound like a fucking horse when you eat.
Yeah, I can't eat like a bag of chips in the house. It has to be like dumped into a bowl because you can't like the bag wrapper either.
Yeah, I mean, I could be around people when they eat. They just eat civilly, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in a normal setting, don't smack, don't fucking just be a human being and don't be a fucking barn animal. That's all I'm
I'm
saying.
guilty. I'm guilty of chugging like water or something here. I'm like
I don't know if I can think of many times where that bothers me.
gulping. Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if that really bothers me so much, but I can't think of too many situations where I've that's happened. But try it out. Do it in front of me. We'll see what happens.
I can't with carbonated water. It's too much, dude.
But in a normal situation, like I said, eating civilly is totally cool. I'll have dinner with people. That's fine. But if we're on a podcast and I'm hearing in my cans here someone eating even just regular, like this is just not the place to do it. Don't even eat
Yeah.
regular because it's like,
Yeah.
dude, I got cans on, dude. It's like everything's isolated, and I just hear. It's terrible. I even want to kick my own ass for doing that. Terrible. But anyway, I have a couple of topics I'd like to chat about really quick, but is there anything you want to talk about before we get rolling with that stuff? Is there anything you want to show off or are you
I got a few things in this past week.
Oh yeah, you're not putting a buying freeze because you're tax raping?
This was before. This was before I found out.
Tell us about that. Todd understands what I'm saying. I did my taxes a month ago, maybe not quite a month ago, and I'm like, hey, get ready for the storm because I got sideswiped with a lot more than I planned on.
Yeah, and I jumped tax brackets, so it's like I'm getting murdered this year. Like last
Yeah.
year, like with all the child like tax credits and all that stuff. I mean, we got money. We got like 10 grand, and
Mhm.
this year we got to pay like 5 grand. So
What did you
it's
get
like
the year before last year?
like three grand.
Okay, so you still got something back. Yeah, last year was a special
Yep.
case because
Yeah,
they bumped up the tax credits, the kid stuff. But
Yeah.
even then, you usually get a couple few grand back.
Yeah.
And considering you had to pay in, a handful of thousand, it's like it's even more. It's like you have like a fucking $7,000-8,000 spread there.
Yep. No, it's
You know?
dude, it's brutal. It is brutal.
And same
I
thing with me. Like they adjusted the tax brackets a bit. They removed all the fucking credits, the independent credits, kid credits, or they slashed those. I don't know, man. And some of it, you just have a hard time making sense of too much of it. It's like,
and it's funny because I was talking to my brother-in-law the other day, and they're kind of in the same situation. They both have two kids. They
Mhm.
both, they both work and pretty much around probably what we make and everything, and they're paying the same. I mean, they're paying like $5,000 into the government, the IRS. It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
that's the same. But like I said, you're interesting because you're paying in the same thing I am. But like I said, you're even worse because you usually get some back. I don't believe in giving the government fucking interest-free loans. So
Yeah,
I've been going exempt and just paying all my taxes myself for 6 years now. And
yeah,
before doing that, I was a little trepidatious with it because it's like that's scary. But no, it's like once I started doing it after the first year, I'm like, oh, this is so much better. I prefer it.
mhm,
And so I know that I'm gonna have to pay because I always do. Like I said, I just gotta
yeah,
put away my own money and factor that in. And I usually pay the same with like $1,000, 1,500, give or take. So, I plan for a little bit. I have a buffer, but my buffer got destroyed by about $4,000 plus 4 to 5 grand. Same thing. It's like, whoa. And like, who could have saw that coming? So, um,
yeah. There's probably some jackass in Ukraine like having like my $5,000 in his hand, like waving himself with it. He's like,
eating a
"Thanks,
fucking lobster
thanks,
dinner, dude.
Riverman.
He's
Thanks, River."
eating a lobster dinner. He's got a Filipino hooker fanning him with your money, Todd, while he's eating a lobster dinner. Man, screw that guy.
I know,
No, it's just Zelensky that's doing it, dude.
I know, exactly.
I don't blame the people of Ukraine. I know
I
some
know,
nice
I
Ukrainians,
know.
but yeah, we got problems in this. Not to get too political or anything, but we got problems that need to get sorted, and I just don't know how there could be anybody that would want this bloodbath to continue like for another 4 years. That's all I'm gonna say.
You gotta make
I'm
peace.
not saying who the answer is, but it's not the fucking old guy. It's not that mummy in the White House. It's
No.
just a train wreck. And I think Todd and I are at we're in kind of the shittiest spot because I think the people who are getting boned are the middle class
Yeah.
because we're in this like weird bracket, whatever that is, from X amount of dollars to X amount of dollars, where you almost kind of would have been better off making about 15K less, 20K less, because
Yep.
you're just getting, because all that overage, you're just getting raped.
Mhm.
Now it's like, or either put me there or I need to make about 50K more or something.
Yep.
But we're in this like boned area where we're just getting
Yep.
fucking slaughtered, and it doesn't pay to be middle class. And just to kind of put it in perspective, I would say I've said this a lot, but I always compare it to like 5 years ago because before the pandemic, all that stuff. About 5 years ago, I made more, right? And here we are 5 years later. I'm somehow making less and I'm taking home less.
Oh yeah.
Because between people's companies slashing bonus programs, slashing benefits, using the pandemic as excuses to just cut all that stuff away and trim some fat and save some money. Because my company did it 100%. They used the pandemic as a fucking excuse, even though we never stopped working. Right.
With inflation on top of it too.
It's like they used to pay for our internet. They used to pay for our internet and all this stuff, like, because I work remote. Nope, that's gone. Like, now you guys have to pay your own stuff. Bonuses did get slashed hardcore. My bonus, it's not gone, but they slashed it in half.
Yep.
It's slashed in half. Whereas, like, God, dude, my bonus used to be, I mean, I guess I'm not going to throw out numbers, but it's, when I say half, we're talking a lot, pretty significant.
Yeah.
We're talking triple digits, I'll just say it, from about 10,000 to 5,000. That's a lot. That's huge. For example, I used to be able to pay my taxes and have money left over. That's over. Now it's like,
yeah.
but
Now you got to scrounge up some change.
yeah. So, but anyway, it's just backwards. We're going, with rising costs of inflation and all the stuff that's going on, we should be making a little more to keep up with that. But now it's like, this is going up and I'm going down. Like, whoa, it's worse. So I feel like I went from being a strong middle class to even kind of at times feeling like, oh, I'm like middle to, I'm almost scratching that upper mid, like, because I was a single guy. But now it's like, dude, I feel like I'm fighting to hang on to middle class. I mean, I
Oh
really
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, I look at how much I have in the bank saved up. You look at the debt you might have, your expenses, uh, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's just like I'm not really netting positive. I'm not really getting ahead, and it's frustrating. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I do feel. I mean, I have assets, right? I'm not complaining. Like I've got a house. I'm
Yeah,
grateful.
there's people worse off than us.
So that's what's keeping me there. Like I'm not lower class, but I do feel like I'm scratching middle class. Like I feel like I'm barely hanging on. If I didn't have this house, well, if I didn't have this house, I'd have a lot of money in the bank. But if I didn't have this house, oh, forget about it, man. Because I would hate to be a renter right now. I would hate it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, like I said, I'm grateful for all that. I don't envy anybody, but just I can't wait for the market to recover. I mean, over the past few years, I've watched my investment portfolio, my retirement portfolio, all of it just
Retirement's toast. Yeah.
drain. I mean, my retirement just went to shit. Now, my grandpa says it best. He's like, well, you have time for it to recover, which is true.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're like somebody that planned on retiring right
Like
as
early '60s. Oh god.
if you were trying to retire, ramp it up
Yeah.
with and then the pandemic happens and all this stuff happens, like you might be caught with your pants down if the timing was just not on your side. So
Yeah.
I feel for those people and that don't have time to wait it out. But anyway, that was a total side note. Just go ahead and show what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, before I got thrown all this crap from the IRS on my taxes, I did pick up some. Let's see, I got this on the. They had a Criterion flash sale.
Yeah, I heard about it.
I got this on 4K. I haven't got it yet. I didn't have it on Blu-ray or anything either. The blowout.
I have it on
Great.
4K.
Yeah. Um,
Well, how were they selling it for 20?
the 4K.
Mm-hmm.
The 4K was like 24. And then I got this for half off. I've been wanting this for a while, and it's the Bruce Lee collection.
Yeah, I was kind of envious. That's a really cool set. You got that for a great price, and I'm like, so I was a little jealous of that.
It looks well. I watched The Big Boss, the first movie, and this thing looks like 4K quality. The transfer looks awesome, dude. The only one thing that drives me nuts on this is I'll hold this up. Look at that, the box set opens from this side instead of the other
That's
side.
weird.
Dude. It drives me
Wait.
nuts, dude.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. That's weird. Well, so what does the spine look like when you have it on the shelf? Oh, and it's got the
Looks like
paper
that.
fold on that side. That drives me
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, it's kind of backwards.
Yeah, for some, I don't know why they did that, but this is an awesome set. If you get it on the half off, I would highly recommend it.
How much was it again? Say that again.
60.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would have known about it had you said something. Do you have any more?
Yeah, I got 2 more.
Okay.
I pre-ordered this, and I forgot this was coming in. This came out a few days ago. It was The Exorcist 3 4K.
Oh, yeah, I want that real bad.
Yeah, I didn't. I only had this on DVD, so
I
yeah.
love The Exorcist 3, man.
Awesome.
As maybe my favorite jump scare of all time.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, part of me kind of like wants to look because that seems like the kind of title I would have pre-ordered, and I'm kind of shocked because I remember it coming out, and it seems like the kind of thing I would have gotten, and I guess I didn't because I didn't get any emails about it, but maybe it's for the better. Oh, it's only $27.99, which ain't too bad for a new title.
Yeah, no, that's why I think I got it for that because I had a gift card or something.
Yeah.
And then this last one, I pre-ordered this in November, December, I believe. It's the Martin 4K box set.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking set.
Very, very excited. People are saying the transfer looks like shit, but it's supposed to. It originally looked like shit, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm just glad I have a copy of this because it was only on DVD. It was never released on anything else, so I picked that up. So one of these days, I'm going to take 4 or 5 hours and run through everything on it. But it's just like one of those things. It's like I'm not going to do it on a night at like 10 o'clock, like crack it open. I want to sit down and actually enjoy it. So.
Yeah, well, I just went ahead and ordered Exorcist as well. I mean, I've always got credit. I swear I've always got a like $30 credit because I have an Amazon credit card, and I use it to pay certain. I'm just always
Same with
racking
me.
up points, you know.
Yeah.
So and then like I kind of game it a little bit. Like my girlfriend and my mom, they all kind of use it, right? And I get the points, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do the best I can there. So I'm not gonna get it until April 6th. That's a movie I could watch right now because it's been a minute. But I love George C. Scott. I'm really
That's
interested.
fantastic.
I'm really interested in that. Was it Second Sight that is putting out the that other version of
Changeling.
Changeling?
Yeah. Second Sight.
So I have the 4K of the Changeling. Um, the one, God, who put that one out? It's actually in front of me. I can't reach it.
Severin.
Severin, yeah, that's right. I'm looking at
Yeah.
it right now. They I haven't watched it yet. I heard some people shit talking it in a group, like on socials or whatever, like saying the transfer is horrible. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
heard that too. But
I love that movie so, and I saw that the Second Sight's a brand new transfer, so I would think they would write that wrong. I'm such a big fan of that movie that it's so tempting to double dip because I just love that movie.
I think Second Sight does all their own transfers, if I'm not
So
mistaken. But
I'll
yeah,
have to.
I'm gonna pick that because I didn't own that. You told me to get it, so the
Yeah.
cover art or the artwork looks awesome, dude.
Yeah, I like the original too. I mean, I'm happy with both art.
Yeah.
But no, I love that flick. I mean, I think that would be worth it. So I do have two things because I wasn't going to show anything because I wasn't going to go on this fucking tirade like I did about taxes and then be like, oh, because I'm like you. I got these before. I got these.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been holding back on showing stuff. I've got these two probably about a month ago. And I got them for so cheap that I couldn't say no. And I don't. It's not. I guess I'll just show you. All right. So I'm not a stickler about this kind of stuff with anybody else. There's only two groups that I would ever bother doing this stuff for. Metallica is the first one, but I refuse to get their box sets because they never go down in price and they're over $200. But these Black Sabbath ones, eventually they've gone down in price. Like they have, they liquidate them out. I got Technical Ecstasy for like $55 last year.
Mhm.
And I got Sabotage for like 55, 60 as well. Because these are normally like 150 retail when they come
Yeah.
out. Same thing. This Paranoid went down to like 60. Picked it up.
Why didn't you let me know? That
I
thing's
don't know, man.
awesome. What is that still on sale? Why'd you tell me that?
Check it out. And Volume 4.
And Volume 4.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
this one might have been closer to 70, but I don't care, dude. Once you start getting me with like the 60, 70, even 80, Black Sabbath, I'm not going to say no to because these things are awesome. These things are, dude, you are getting 5 LPs. You're getting posters. You're getting 5 double records. When you consider the price, you're getting your money. And like, look at this. So it comes with the original album remastered. There's a whole LP of outtakes and new mixes, alternative takes, all kinds of cool studio takes with dialogue and then talking, making the record. It's great. And every one of these comes with a live album from the era. Like this comes from Live the UK in 1973. They're fucking awesome. They're worth the live shit alone. So you can still get all these, like Technical Ecstasy and Sabotage. Those are the ones that were like liquidated out for the longest time. I got those a year ago, and you could still find those. Volume 4 and Paranoid, I couldn't tell you, but if it's under $100, I would get it, to be honest with you, because they're so great, and they haven't put them all out, so I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't think they put out one for the original, not that I remember. They had to,
No,
but
I didn't. I don't see.
I've never seen it, and I haven't seen one for Master of Reality. Like
No.
I've got the ones that I've seen out in the wild, so I don't know if they just skipped a whole bunch. I've never seen one for Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, so I don't know. But
Yeah,
yeah.
those are really cool. I'm gonna hold off though, but yeah,
And
they went back up in price anyway. So
how much are they?
like 99 or something like that.
How much is that? Which one's that?
Paranoid,
How much is Volume 4?
same 98, but the
Really?
technical ecstasy is like 65 now.
Oh, I think that's good. I think it's solid. It's not one of the best albums, but I think it's a solid album. The collections are still great. The live stuff, I love all of it. The new mixes, the posters and stuff.
Well, they have
Um,
Sepultura now too. They have Roots.
yeah, they how much they want for that? That'll get liquidated out. Some of that stuff I
Uh,
too much.
that's 107,
No
and,
thanks.
and that's
Call me
on
when
sale.
that's.
That's on sale from 150. That's
I don't.
crazy.
I know it'll go down lower. Like I get a good feeler of these box sets that come out. It's just not the economy to be releasing box sets,
Yeah,
and especially Roots. I don't even like that album really. But if something's not totally like blown out immediately and not sold out like in pre-orders, you can kind of get a feeler and an idea if something's not selling well. Just wait it out. Like that Roots, I could see it going down to like $60. 50. Whatever. I'm in no rush.
are you getting the 72 seasons?
Yeah, I've had, of course I've who you talking to?
Well, I didn't know if there was like some sort of like special like
No, they have
limited edition thing for that.
it's just getting the vinyl. Intended I'll probably pick up the CD too, just because I have every Metallica. Yeah, I don't want to buy CDs anymore. I technically had the last album, and CDs are like fucking so cheap now. Target, you can buy it for $9.99. I mean, I'll probably pick that up too. But I have the vinyl on pre-order. So, but yeah, I mean, I I'm keeping reservations. I mean, they've released 4 songs off that damn thing, and it's not exactly knocking my socks off. But I'll wait till
Yeah, I wasn't really into it, but
I'll wait till I hear the whole album as a whole and how everything gels, and maybe things will make a little bit more sense. The first song they put out, the Lux Eterna, it's okay, but it's just it just wasn't knocking my socks off. The production's great. Hetfield sounds fantastic. There's just something missing for it, but it's a short song. I could see how it could be a grower. The second one they put out, it did grow on me a little bit, but it's like it's the same problem they've always had for the last couple of records. The songs are too long. I think they need to get Bob Rock back, because Greg Fiddleman, the guy they have that they've had with them now for a long time, he's just a yes man apparently, because any like engineer producer would be like, guys, let's cut this out, cut this here. Like it's just he just lets them kind of do whatever they want, and that's not what a producer's supposed to do. Because it's like I'll listen to the song and I'm doing nothing but critiquing it. Like, well, why didn't they just go straight into the chorus here? Like, just cut out that section. They should have went from the bridge straight back into this and would have been so much better. But eventually you hear a song so much and it's like, it just becomes that, like, it's just the way it is. And then they released a third one, which I thought was better than the first 2, but once again, too long, but better. And then they released the title track Thursday, and that's the best of all 4, which is the opener. And once again, it's this one's long as shit too, but it doesn't feel bloated. Like it goes by really fast. The newest song is the best of all of them. I think my only critique of the newest song is, it sounds like Metallica. It's not really anything new. It's like, okay, it's like, it's kind of, but at this point, they're old, man. Like, they're not gonna like release a rap album or whatever. They already did all their innovating, and they already gave us Saint Anger and Load. Like, maybe they're okay just not experimenting anymore. Like, just kind of give us a safe sound.
we need to go. Okay, we need to go track by track. Let's do like a versus video where we do Metallica's new album and then we do Megadeth's The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. We do a versus album.
But I listened to Sick, Dying, and Dead one time and haven't went back since.
Okay, well, we'll listen to it again.
There's something about it. I thought that was a letdown compared to Dystopia for me. I think Dystopia is awesome. There's just something about it. I think part of it's just time, place, and circumstance too, right? Maybe the timing was just wrong when the new Megadeth came out.
Yeah, I really like the album.
I remember liking it, but I'm like, I just never had any desire to go back to it. Now, if you were telling 13-year-old me there was that new Megadeth album, maybe I would have wore it out on the way to school and I would have bonded with it. But now we live in an era where there's just so much shit coming out all the time.
Yeah.
It's really hard to latch on to stuff. But yeah, I would like that. I would like to, when the Metallica record comes out, we can kind of do what Mac and Zach does. They make me do for ICP, those fuckers. We could listen to the record and then go buy it track by track. I would like that. And it'll be hits. People fucking all over it. Every time Metallica puts out a new song, all the fucking cringe ass YouTubers put out reaction videos, right, to the new song. Yeah, they're fucking terrible, and it's always like people that don't listen to Metallica,
Yeah.
or don't even listen to that kind of music. It's just like I don't know. It's really weird, but I would like to do that. But yeah. What else was I going to say? The last thing I'll talk about, kind of going into what we're going to talk about here in a second, talking about tech. Dude, this whole rise of AI shit really scares me, man. I hate it.
Great. You see that Will Smith AI video, dude, eating spaghetti, dude?
No.
Oh, you need to watch this, dude.
It's
I
getting
mean-
creepy. It's getting, and I was thinking, like, you have all those like Trump arrest AI videos or photos that
Yeah.
look really, some of those AI photos of Trump getting hauled off and stuff. And at what point is stuff like this going to come out and slander people, but it's fake? Back in the day, if you had a photo of someone doing something scandalous or a video, it just ruin you, and it'd be damning in court. But now with the rise of AI, it's only going to get better and better. At what point can you trust any of that stuff, right? Like, for example, if I leaked a video tomorrow of Todd sucking a big cock, but I doctored it like an AI and it looked legit, I mean, Todd's life is ruined. How are you going to prove it's AI or not?
It's gonna be ridiculous. Here, hold on.
You going to share it? Yeah, let's watch it. Put it on the screen.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, well, that doesn't look. Hold on.
Yeah, this is. So this is text to video or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So this is what the AI created, dude. Watch this.
But that doesn't look real.
It's so creepy, dude. Well, the technology isn't there yet, but I mean, it's getting there.
So, okay, well, let's take this off. Oh, we can leave it on for a second. Why not? Wait, Mendoza would love that video of Todd. But you know what I'm trying to say, Mendoza? Like, isn't it scary? So, on the topic, it's applicable to films, it's applicable to music, it's applicable to all of it. But I saw on the news, right? There's a rise of using AI for audio and video games, right? In the gaming industry, you have big companies like Ubisoft and just the biggest companies that are using it for like the NPC dialogue, which I get it, right? When you have like a really, really big game, like a Skyrim type game, where you just have so many NPCs that just say mindless shit as you pass them by, like, yeah, I can see why they're tempted to just use AI to come up with a smart enough dialogue and not pay a bunch of people to record 500,000 lines of dialogue.
Oh yeah.
But it's a threat to just, I guess, whenever technology has a huge jump, it always costs jobs, right? I mean, but and sometimes it introduces new jobs. But the scary part, so I'm not afraid of the technology per se. The scary part is this AI is using other people's voices to make the AI. And at what point is it not fair? Is it, because I mean, I know all these people that sign on now to these game contracts, these voice acting gigs, they have to have it in their clauses to where, their stuff can be used for AI purposes in the future or whatever. All the recordings, right? You're turning over your rights. And the fact that somebody could pretty much use your voice and replicate your voice into something else is kind of creepy. I think it's getting there. I don't think it's quite there. I think AI is sufficient for NPC crap, right?
Yeah.
But if you're playing a game and there's heavy dialogue and real acting, it's getting scary close. But there's one game, I can't remember what it was, that used complete AI for everything, even like the main story, and it reeks of a little bit of Uncanny Valley. Like, this is off, but it was still better than the voice acting used to be, like in Resident Evil. So it's getting close. But the problem is like, I think if you tried to tell AI, I don't know, let's say, the boy crossed the street. Technically, that's correct English, and I think that's what a computer would probably generate, but it's not good writing. So I think a computer by itself would sound really stale and stagnant. But the fact is it doesn't, because it's using everybody else's writing and diction and shit like that to be more accurate. Stuff like Chat GPT and all this stuff. I don't know. I feel
And
it's kinda
whoever controls the AI pretty much controls the world at that point.
and it, like I said, at what point do you use AI against people? Like I said, okay, politically, forget about it, man. You know how ugly it gets with politics.
Ugh.
Like nobody wants to fact check anyway. These stories come out and they become like wildfire on social media, and they don't care if they're legit or not. They just want it to catch on like wildfire, because the damage is already done before anybody fact checks. I mean, who's to say one party or this person or this country or whatever can't just put a video out there? That's pretty bad, because, like I said, I saw some of those Trump arrest photos and they were hilarious. Some of them were pretty.
Yeah.
They were pretty. Some of them might have, you blink twice. It's like that looks real.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to forensic it, like and know, like in like court and shit. Like if somebody's like on trial, if they'll be able to like see that it's doctored. I'm sure shit will catch up.
And Hollywood's going to put them out of business eventually. I mean, now you're probably selling your AI rights, maybe. I don't know.
Bruce Willis did. Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Didn't he say he sold his likeness and shit for like because deep fake is kind of just another version of that, I guess.
But yeah, they're probably pretty much done at this point.
But it's scary, man. I mean, AI can make music.
Yep.
Right? You could tell AI to make, like we were talking about Metallica earlier. You could probably tell people are making jokes, right? Because I was talking about how the new Metallica songs, they just feel like nothing new. It feels like too familiar, which you could either say is a good thing or a bad thing. Like I don't know quite yet. There's people that in comments, of course, this is going to be the new way to bag people. Like, this literally sounds like someone put into AI, make a Metallica song, and it's like AI made the song, right? And it's just going to get better and better. And that's creepy, because let's say you're a writer. Let's say you're a screenwriter, or you want to make movies, you want to direct movies, and you've already got to compete with everybody else out there that has a leg up on you, because that whole industry is all about gatekeeping. Oh, I forgot that. There, I got to fix that. Whenever you like add a new screen and go back, it reverts back to the old one. Look at that. It's like we have to do that. I don't know. Anyway, you already have to compete with everybody else that has ideas and is writing stuff and trying to put stuff and beat people to the market with certain things. And it's a whole gate kept industry, so it's tough anyway. But you're trying to say that now people have to compete with AI. Because now you're going to have AI pumping. Because think about it. Anybody that nothing is totally original. Everything is derivative of something, right? Yeah. I think they've said that technically there's only 7 types of stories out there, right? That are just kind of rehashed and told in a different way. But, it's just like there's only so many notes in a scale. And eventually people are going to plagiarize other artists unintentionally, right? It's just the way it works. And everybody, what do they also say? Like, a great artist steals, right? The genius artists, like, they borrow. Okay. So that's all people are doing anyway, right? Whoever came out with Jacob's Ladder, to me, in my eyes, it looks like they watched Angel Heart. And kind of got a general concept, totally different setting and different type of story, but it's like, you can kind of see like down the breadcrumbs and shit like that. And I'm sure it goes back even further and further and further. So people do that anyway. We take a little bit from column A, B, C here, and we put it in our own blender and filter it through our own self, and we get something ultimately unique. But that's all AI is going to do. AI is going to take this thing that's out, this thing, and put it in a blender and put it out. Yeah, Terminator, right, Mendoza? Yeah, eventually the AI is just going to come alive and kill us, and then we're going to have the resistance.
Yeah.
And then, which I'm here for.
Yeah. I don't think I don't know if we're ready for all the AI technology yet. I mean, hopefully they don't dump it on us.
Well, that's the only thing, is like there's got to be legislation for it, but I think it's moving too fast. So I don't know at some point, like, if legislation is going to get worked out, union type shit. There's got to be something that controls it. But otherwise, big corp's going to big corp, and they're going to make a buck wherever they can. If they could fire everybody, because if people will consume it, like if people, if they start putting out every Call of Duty game that makes buku bucks, or every Grand Theft Auto game that makes buku bucks, and they can get away with putting AI everything, and people still buy it, that's everybody's going to follow and everybody's going to keep doing it. And that'll be the new standard, the new normal. And that's just kind of scary, man. For people that like to create, it's just going to kill art.
YouTube creators would be gone. I mean, well, yeah, pretty much.
Todd's doing that thing again where his audio goes real fast.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Well, you got that delay. So I hear I see your lips flap, and then it catches up.
Hold on.
Yeah. He's going to try and work out his thing. It's scary though, man. I don't like it. And maybe I shouldn't be so concerned. I mean, because I guess we've always dealt with this. We've always dealt with leaps in technology, right? People thought home video was going to kill theaters, right? There's always some big fear. All right, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you are. I was telling them, like, I don't know how much people should be scared or not, because we've always kind of dealt with this. Like, people thought VHS was going to kill the theaters, right? And so on. Like, this is always a thing. But who knows, man? Consoles did eventually kill arcades. They did.
Yeah, but then you don't know what's AI and what's not, and that's what's going to kill it.
And that's the problem.
Why would you not have AI if you could do it?
But it's exactly, and I'm not saying. I think AI is a tool, and I think like any technology, a tool can be used in a good way.
Yeah.
But just like in music, people have something like Pro Tools, and they just lean on it, and now everything's overly processed, and that's just the way it is. Like people are just not. The new Metallica record sounds processed because it's 2023. Because no one's ever going to go back to recording to tape. Why? Why would they spend 10 times longer cutting tape and performing shit live to tape and stuff? I mean, no one's going to do that. And it's just part of the era. And I'm scared that we're just going to get there with everything. And I don't know, hopefully the biggest problem is it's just going to kill creativity, and then it's going to impede on people's rights and creative rights. And it's going to, before we know it, everything we do is going to prompt an agreement for us to give up all sorts of rights. Like maybe our phones, maybe using our phones. And when you get that like Apple disclosure, everyone ignores, maybe you're agreeing to fucking your face, and maybe your face is going to fucking appear in AI generators and shit like that. I don't know. It's like, how do you control it? How do you wrangle it once it gets so big? It's going to be just like piracy and shit like that got so big, they couldn't really stop it. Like the industry had to figure out a way to make money with like music and shit other ways. Because like, well, we're not making it with record sales anymore. We have to charge $1 bajillion for live concerts now. Right. So I think AI could just get too big to where you can't wrangle it. And then, I mean, speaking of that, man, dude, before we know it, dude, maybe concerts will be all even live performances are going that way. Everybody performs to tape now, and it's scary because it's becoming a norm. It used to be a bad word. Milli Vanilli, they lost their career over that shit, and then obviously they weren't even singing on the actual album either, but they lost they were ridiculed, and they lost their Grammy and their career. I think they lost their Grammy. And then Britney Spears, I mean, people were knocking that shit when she was like coming out and new and stuff, but now everybody accepts it. And if people don't now people literally don't care. Like I went and saw Bad Bunny with my lady, and I'm like, he's lip syncing. Like, this is all lip synced. It's just the record. And they don't care. They know it. They don't care.
Well, and I think concerts will be like, I mean, it's going to be all holograms as well. I don't think,
but maybe that's like the
performers.
But that's the next step. Maybe that's the next. Once people die off, I'm surprised we don't have like a Prince experience.
We had the Tupac. That was just like
Coachella.
one show, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and they did it with Dio. I think they did a few of those shows with Dio. I don't know if people are super ready for that yet, but I mean, maybe that's down the line. But like I said, but now it's what used to be shunned is now a new normal. I see people like Motley Crue getting blasted, right? Because dude, that's why I saw that tour. Motley Crue was shit because the whole thing was on a tape. Everything.
Oh, really?
Everything. I saw it was Poison, Joan Jett, Def Leppard, and Motley Crue. Motley Crue was the only band there. Everything, they just literally hit a tape. It wasn't the fucking drum sounds. They don't sing. Nikki Sixx's bass ain't plugged in. It's a fucking tape. And it's lame. It's fucking lame.
Did he do that thing that Chaz did and Airheads did, where he just like throws his guitar
Yeah,
when he should be playing, dude.
he could have. No, dude, they're punks, dude. But like I said, it's accepted, so
I
people
know.
will keep doing it. And I'm afraid that once the last batch of musicians, like the last rock stars, are dead, like Guns N' Roses doesn't do that. I mean, you could tell Axl Rose sounds like shit 90% of the time.
I'd
But you
rather
know what?
hear him, sound like shit than.
Yeah, it's just pathetic. But you have people on the other side of that spectrum that think, no, we don't want them sounding like shit, so clean it up. They want to have the best experience. I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. I mean, if you're telling people about it and they still give their money to go see it, I feel sorry for society, but whatever. People are making their decisions. Metallica doesn't play the tracks. They're and it's also not fair, dude, because people will watch a live Metallica performance and everybody will jump on like Lars. Oh, he dropped the tempo, or he spent. Everybody makes fun of like Kirk will fuck up, or James's voice might crack here and there. But I'm like, the thing is, and Sebastian Bach said it the best. He said, everybody acts like back in the day we sounded great.
Oh,
No,
I'm sure they didn't.
It's like, no, we just didn't have iPhones and YouTube back then. But it's like we had bad day. We're human. Like people would voice would crack. Somebody would fuck up. It's just now everything goes online immediately after a concert, and it looks like you're flubbing up. But now that we have all these bands that are kind of combating that by just playing the tracks, it makes the people that don't look like they're bad or something. Like no, because.
And the majority of bands back then were heavy drug users as well. So, I mean, you can't imagine they would sound that great back in the 70s,
dude,
on their live shit.
I mean, first of all, Axl Rose sounded awesome back in the day, but the rest of Guns N' Roses sounded like shit, dude.
Yeah.
They were like sloppy, fucking falling apart. I mean, they don't have to convince me. I know that's the case. It's just the human element. But now, like I said, everybody wants to avoid your Rihannas or whoever. They want to avoid ridicule, so they just played a tape. So now, when this is what's popular, and you got Gen Z coming up, experiencing this is what they know as live music. It makes the old dogs look bad, right? Because it's like, like no, because you know how many people people do know, and they either know and don't care, or they just don't know, which baffles me, dude. I was talking to somebody, they were kind of an older person. And they saw Ozzy on TV. Like Ozzy has not sang in 20 years. He's been singing the tape.
Oh yeah.
It's bad. And anyway, he did like a football game or something, like a halftime show, and he looks old as shit. And he sounds like shit, and it's like the worst fucking sync job I've ever seen. And then this person, they were like, "Oh yeah, I saw him on TV. Man, Ozzy can still sing. He still got it." I'm like, and that's exactly what he wants you to think. Like, how could you? What? I mean, whatever. I mean,
I wonder how many takes it took them to record that. So when did they actually record that? Did they record it like just prior to the tour, and then they use that for every tour stop? The same tape?
So I've noticed that if it's a rock band, a lot of times it does. It sounds like it's a new recording that they record beforehand to make it sound live. Like,
Yeah.
But I've noticed pop stars, the CD, they use the fucking MP.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. It's just, anyway, I'm not excited to be a music fan or a movie fan or any of this stuff 20 years from now, because I see it very possible that I no longer go to shows and shit in 20 years at all. Like, why go to any live music anymore?
Yeah.
Right. So the only people keeping the music alive in a natural, organic way are people that have been around for like at least 20 years. So when these people all die off,
But why wouldn't they live stream their concerts? Like, the majority of these bands. I mean, you would think that would get a lot of traction, and you can make a few bucks off of it, maybe.
I don't know. They were doing a lot of that stuff during the pandemic, live streaming shit. But
yeah, but it's not very prominent. Nobody really talks about that. Like,
there was I remember it was like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. There's that band Falling in Reverse. They canceled their entire tour because someone stole their MacBook.
Oh my god!
It's a band, yeah, Falling in Reverse, and they couldn't play their shows anymore because their laptop got stolen. Because why? Because they have tracks everywhere.
Oh jeez,
It's horrible. Like you canceled your fucking. back in the day, people's vans would get stolen, and then like other bands on a bill would they'd go to music shops and get loaner instruments and shit just to
Yeah,
make,
yeah.
and they'd play the show. Like you can't play a show because all your fucking backtracks are gone. It's disgusting and it's sad, but kids don't ca- do people go kids go to like rave festivals and see Steve Aoki hit a button loop on a laptop and then throw a cake in the audience and just go, it's like,
Yeah, I couldn't do that, dude.
I mean, like it's just a generational thing, and I'm officially that old guy. Yeah, Mendoza, Radiohead still does it. Radiohead's been around forever. I mean, those guys will. And when that breed is dead or gone, like when Lil Uzi or whoever, or all these fucking people, these are your old timers. When these are your like vets, when people like Imagine Dragons, when these are like your veterans of the industry, it's going to be a different landscape.
Well, that's what they make now is throwaway music and throw away movies. It's just like, you like it for a day and then you move on because it's shit.
I mean, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for the thing is you could tell me that AI writes the Marvel movies and I would believe it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they literally are all the same and they follow a similar formula. I'm sure AI could do a totally par Marvel movie. 100%. And that's scary, man, because guess what? People consume it. I doubt anybody would know. I bet you they could be like, hey, let's do a test. Because we don't want to put, hey, written by AI, given a certain director a sum of money to use their name, but like a less sum of money and have an AI do it.
Yeah.
And I bet you nobody would fucking notice because I don't know. It is what it is. But we're taking too long. Let's talk about music real quick. We're rolling into all this music stuff. Let's talk about where it began for us in our lifetime. So growing up, it was all about cassette tapes, man. I want to start off by, what was your first album, Todd? And if I'm assuming it was probably a cassette. But if it was a CD, let me know. How old were you? How'd you obtain it? What was it? Because I have mine.
My first cassette. So I was probably maybe 5, 6. I think I was going to see my dad, and he gave me my first tape. I was just sitting in his car. He's like, "Hey, I want you to hear this song." Me and my brother were in the car, and he flips it on, and we really loved the song. And he's like, "Hey, you can just keep the tape." So after that, that was my first tape, and that was Sir Mix-a-Lot. Baby Got Back.
You know what's so funny? I was gonna say, was it 2 Live Crew?
That was Sir Mix-a-Lot, dude.
That's so
he
funny.
He was like, listen, this song's funny. And then he told me we could have the tape, so we listened to that thing front to back, man.
Yeah, I also was gonna guess like Heavy D, but
Vanilla Ice as well.
So my first album was on a cassette, and I was 3, and I had a copy of Bobby Brown, "Don't Be Cruel." And I have a picture floating around there somewhere. It might be on my Instagram even, of me being like a toddler walking around with my Sony Walkman with my little headphones on. I got a little backwards ball cap just like now. And I got like an Ernie shirt. And I'm just walking around listening to it. And I loved it. And I remember it was so funny because when I was like, my dad was out of the picture when I was really young, like for a few years. And I remember being 3, 4, and 5 years old. And I just loved Bobby Brown. And then I had the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack, which had Bobby Brown and Dougie Fresh and Run DMC on it. That's really all I knew. And then my dad would come back into the picture a little bit. And then I remember him just straight up saying, like, my dad was kind of a bigot. Why are you listening to N-word music? That was being, like, terrible. But anyway, but then when my dad came in the picture, I was pretty young. I started hearing the rock music and stuff. So from a young age, I got, because my first CD was the Batman Forever soundtrack with Seal, because I love Seal, dude. I loved it, man. That was my first CD. What was your first CD?
It was Nirvana, Nevermind, and Crisscross.
You got them both at the same time?
Yep, those are my first 2 CDs.
Remember when Estelle Winslow took Judy to go see Crisscross?
No, I don't.
They came back. They came back from the concert like, those boys are so nice. And they had Crisscross t-shirts. He took her. Yeah. Took her, yeah. So, but yeah. So it was Bobby Brown, "Don't Be Cruel." I loved But no, the Batman Forever was actually cool because at that point I was into rock music because I was young. I was in elementary school, but then I was starting to hear it. I had been hearing it since I was 5 because like Batman Forever came out when I was like in the 4th grade, so I was a little older. So I had been hearing all the rock music and stuff like that, but I still love Batman and I love Seal, and I got that soundtrack. And that soundtrack had some rock on there. Had the U2 song, right? "Hold Me, Kiss Me, Thrill Me, Kill Me," or whatever it's called. And then it had like indie
That's a
rock,
great song.
Sunny Day Real Estate, Flaming Lips, and shit like that. But it also had like Brandy. Remember back in the day when soundtracks would be versatile like that, where you have R&B, indie rock. You had Offspring on there. I love that song. They were covering a
Bad Boy soundtrack is awesome.
They were covering a Damn song. Yeah. Oh, did the Bad Boy soundtrack have a mix of like rock and
Oh
everything?
yeah, yeah. It had Warren G. It had Tupac. It had John B. It had just
Where's the
just some-
rock?
there's some techno. I think KMFDM is on there.
Yeah, because it was
Um,
when they go to the dance club, it's the same song as in Mortal Kombat. It's the same Mortal Kombat song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Juke Joint Jezebel, which is on the Mortal Kombat soundtrack.
Yeah.
But I love that. It used to be so mixed up back in the day, and now, dude, rock music on soundtracks is done,
Mhm.
right? And then rock music hit a peak in like 2000 because it felt like every horror movie and stuff had like new metal soundtracks.
New metal, yeah, Disturbed, yeah.
And that's where like people like Slayer was staying alive because you'd have like it'd be all new metal, but then you'd have Pantera and Slayer on there too because they were like the only 2 metal bands that were kind of alive through the 90s, kind of weathering that storm.
Yeah.
But that's where you had like Avoid the Light, right? And they had their Poison
Great
Idea
song.
cover. The Poison Idea cover, The Badge was on to The Crow. That was
Yeah.
Pantera. But then Avoid the Light was Dracula 2000. Slayer had a they were always throwaway tracks that didn't make the album, right?
Mhm.
Slayer had a throwaway track, I think, from the Diabolus sessions that was on the Bride of Chucky soundtrack.
Was it Bloodline? What
Was
was
Bloodline
that
on
on?
Bride of Chucky?
I love that song though.
Hold on, I thought it was a throwaway track. I'm gonna look it up because that they would always give them like the leftover shit. That's usually what people do. Let me see, Bride of Chucky soundtrack. Let's see. Oh, vinyl. I would love to have that. Okay, the Bride of Sound. Let's see. Human Disease was a Slayer song on the Bride of Chucky soundtrack, and I think
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was a Diabolus session. But like, look at it. Look at the soundtrack. Okay, Bride of Chucky was Trumpets of Jericho, was a Bruce Dickinson solo song. So Wrong, Stabbing Westward, some band I never heard of. Human Disease by Slayer. There's Monster Magnet, Thunder Kiss 65, White Zombie, Cold Chamber, a song called Blisters. That wasn't on their records. Like they would always give out these like leftovers. Power Man 5000. Oh, Motorhead's on there. Typo would show up on that stuff a lot. Dude, Judas Priest, Bloodstained with Ripper Owens was on that. Of course, Static X. I mean,
Static
and that-
X. Man.
oh yeah, dude, have you seen those Static X videos going around where they have like they're on tour and they have that new singer that's when they first came back, he was dressing like zombie Wayne Static. He was wearing like the dead face, and it was
Does he
like,
have hair?
yeah, it was like a mask. But anyway, now they're like on a new tour and he's like robot cyborg. It looks fucking cool. I don't like Static X, but he looks like a Terminator. His eyes are like glowing red and it's like got a robot face, like robot wire hair, dude.
That's funny.
It's pretty funny. But yeah, anyway. So what was your first CD? You said it was Nevermind
Nevermind and Crisscross.
and Crisscross. So staying on tapes for a bit because there was some bleed over. I still had tapes when CDs were out. Because like I might have gotten, I think I got the Batman Forever soundtrack on CD in 1995, but that was my only CD for a long time. I still had cassettes, and what I would do was, when my dad wasn't in the picture, I would just raid my mom's cassettes in the basement. We lived with my grandmother, and she had just like a whole cupboard full of cassettes, and I had like a little karaoke player that I'd listen to my tapes in, and I would just listen to whatever she had, and she had everything from Bonnie Raitt to Cher, If I Could Turn Back Time, pretty much all the biggest.
Oh
she
yeah,
had
yeah.
Bon Jovi. She had Judas Priest cassettes. White Snake. I'm pretty sure. Just like she didn't have anything like heavy, but she would have like female adjacent rock and pop, right? Probably stuff like the Bangles.
Yep.
But I would listen to that stuff. But I would always try and pick out I would go for like White Snake or gosh, what else was in there? Def Leppard. She had Def Leppard. I'd try and get into like the rock and
Skid
stuff.
Row.
She had I don't know if I can't remember if she had Skid Row in there or not. She had Garth Brooks. She had country, Clint Black, and stuff like that too. So when my dad got into the picture, he had the more heavier stuff. He had like a lot more of the Priest and the Maidens and the Metallicas and stuff like that, and Anthrax and stuff. But I spent a lot of time just like listening to those tapes, and then dude, I would listen to the radio. And remember back in the day, you could just tape over tapes,
Yep.
right? You
Yep.
put, and I don't know how I figured that out. I don't know why I thought, because I didn't know the science behind it. I just said, hey, I wonder what happens if I put a piece of tape over this hole. I don't know
Mhm.
why. I didn't read about it. I didn't have the internet or anything like that back then. I just did it, and it worked. No one told me. It was like, oh, I figured out this big top secret thing. But I don't remember. I would tape over something lousy, and I probably didn't tell my mom or whatever. Probably just, she would never know. I probably picked Cher or something. I don't know. And I would record. I remember recording like radio specials.
I did. Yep.
Well, try and record my favorite songs when they'd come on. Like
Mhm.
I was listening to rock and stuff in the mid '90s. I was into Metallica hardcore in the mid '90s, and so I would try and compile my own mixtapes by waiting for the
Yep.
songs to come on. Stuff like Live, all that stuff. And then I remember them being like, I remember Metallica in promotion for like the Load era albums or whatever. They had a live nationally syndicated radio broadcast. It's where Tuesday's Gone comes from on the Garage Inc. record.
Mhm.
That was that radio broadcast. And
Yeah.
I remember taping that whole thing. It was at Christmas time, and I had that for the longest time. What did you used to tape off there?
Like they had like a Hot 5 at 9 or something like on one of the local radio stations, and I recorded every night.
Hmm.
Like if a song I like came on the radio, hoping it would actually hit like the top 5. But yeah, that's what I recorded a lot.
Well, did you ever like? I used to call in and request songs.
Oh, I did that. I did that too. Then you just wait. Yeah, wait 2 hours, and sometimes they didn't even play it.
I was Metallica obsessed, and I remember calling requesting a because I wanted it on my tape. I didn't
Mhm.
get it recorded, and I literally, often I'd call, and sometimes like even a little bit later too, like when Korn was really hot, I'd want to hear a
Mhm.
new Korn song because these stuff would be burning up the radio before the album dropped, and I'd call them up like if it was like a Metallica song, and they'd be like, "Oh, geez, we just played Metallica like 5 minutes ago, so we can't yet." It's like literally, it's like all I had to do was just sit there and fucking be patient because it's like eventually they're gonna play this shit again. Um, but yeah,
No, it's
and
funny
then
you say that because go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was going to talk about raiding my stepmom's CD cabinet too, like kind of
Oh,
do with your grandma.
yeah, do it, do it. So was my
So,
mom.
oh, your mom. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I only had like 2 CDs at the time, and then we would go visit them, and then she had like all like the pop stuff. So that's how I got really big into like Richard Marx and like a lot of these like bands like that, adult contemporary and stuff because she had all these
Yeah,
CDs.
my mom was into that. My mom had a lot of that stuff. Brian Adams, yeah,
Brian Adams, and yeah, I mean
yeah.
they didn't have anything like hard. I mean, I think they had Pink Floyd, um, some of the newer Pink Floyd stuff, but
We had like a John Waite. I ain't missing you at all
yeah,
since you've been gone away. I ain't missing you at all. Yeah,
oh yeah. So that's probably why I love all that old adult
probably.
contemporary crap. But
Yeah.
it'll and then I kind of got into so in 1994, 93. This was the third CD we got. There's this band that came out, and kind of like R&B was really big at the time, like boy bands, and Boys to Men came out with this song "End of the Road," and me and my brother are obsessed with this song. I'm sure everybody's heard it a million times by now,
Mhm.
but it was on the Boomerang soundtrack, and we ended up thinking it was on the regular Boys to Men first album that just came out. It would
Was
be
it a
on
soundtrack
there.
only?
Yeah, it was only on the
before Greatest
soundtrack.
Hits came out.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I don't think we can tell if it was on the back of the CD. I don't know if I don't know if they deliberately did that. So, I don't know, but I don't know why we bought it. Still thinking it was going to be on the CD if it didn't say on the back. But we got it and we were all pissed off. We're like, we just want this one song.
Oh, that's why you buy a single if you just want the one song.
But they didn't do that. It was hard to do like find singles and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hey, really quick, I want to say hi to Silhouette. Plumkey's in the chat too. What's up? Joined us, of course, Adrian. Almost bought Rex One at Walmart today for you, Aaron. How'd you buy Rex One at Walmart when those were Target exclusive? Do you mean Target? Walmart has the movie line exclusivities. It's Target that has the animated stuff. But dented box. I still have not seen Rex One
I haven't
locally.
either.
And part of me, honestly, kind of hopes I don't because I'm not buying anything. I just, God, I don't want. I just can't deal with the temptation.
I'm done. I'm done for a while.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's so many things. Oh, I don't want to jump around too much, but as far I didn't jump into CDs so much later. Like I said, in '95 it was my first CD. My dad, I remember in the earliest, my dad had CDs in like '96, like starting from like '96. I remember Load came out, and I wasn't allowed to touch his CDs or anything like that. But I remember, and I remember in 1997, I saw my very first Discman because my dad came back into our lives, and I remember he had just he was visiting, or he had moved back to Nebraska, and he was trying to like work things out with the family, my mom, and we were hanging out, and he had bought a Discman, and he had bought in a few CDs, and he had bought in Justice for All, like Black Album. They were all pretty much all Metallica, and he let me listen to it, and he was like, "Oh, you got to listen to the song One." And I remember just being in the back seat listening to it. And I was like, "Oh, skipping tracks, this is so cool! Like no rewinding," and it was just the coolest thing in the world, man. I'm like, "Oh, that it was magic, dude." I wanted CD so bad. I wanted a Discman so bad, and I miss those days when music was so magical, dude. Like everything blew me away when you're that young. It's like I never heard anything like this. Like the first time I heard Injustice for All, like I had heard this stuff in the background. I had heard the stuff like throughout the house, but I never had my own copies, and I could actually just listen to it. And I remember just listening to it like, this is the fucking greatest thing the whole time. I can't imagine life getting better than this.
Oh, just lay in bed for hours just listening to music. That's all I used to do.
But I was still getting cassettes into. I remember I pretty much switched to CDs in '97. But I was still, dude. I remember being in like the fifth grade, elementary school, fifth grade, dude. I would be walking around the neighborhood in Elkhorn, Nebraska, with my Talkboy. I love my Talkboy, and that was my little Walkman. I'd put tapes in it, and I'd be walking around, recording little notes, but also just listening to Black Album, dude. What did I do? I must have been listening to it off like taped off the radio or something.
Probably
because I didn't, or maybe my mom had a copy because I didn't have my own copy until like I remember it was like '97. I remember 97 because I used to go to garage sales. I remember in 1997 in Millard, I went to a garage sale and I bought Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and the Black Album on cassette all in one swoop. I think I also picked up
nice.
I also picked up Screaming Trees.
Yeah.
I also picked up Use Your Illusion 1. And I also picked up, for some reason, Poison Flesh and Blood. I was just buying them because they were like giving them away. And I bought I think I even got like Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band or something. But anyway, I wore out those Metallica tapes, man. I had 3 records. And I remember for like the longest time, like, I gotta have Master of Puppets. But I wore out Guns N' Roses, and I just love those tapes, man. And but then I think it was a whole 2 years before I made the jump to a new CD, because 95 I got the Batman soundtrack, Batman Forever, and then 97 comes along, and I find out all about Columbia House.
Oh yeah,
send in a penny. Or whatever, or just like order 12 CDs as long as you promise to buy one at retail price sometime in the next year.
Yeah.
Like what a terrible business model, because they let me do that as a kid. Like there's like you couldn't.
Yeah, how did they make any money?
They couldn't ruin your credit. How are they going to ruin your credit?
Yeah.
I didn't have to send him any money. I didn't have to give him a credit card. I didn't have to do anything. I could have probably put any name I could have probably put Adrian Mendoza in my address, and they would have sent me CD. And I couldn't believe it worked, man. I used to read all those they were hand me downs. Like my dad would buy like a Metal Edge magazine or a Circus, and he would like be done with it, and it would go to me. And they would always have that stuff in the back, in the middle. And I remember I just tried it. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna pick all the CDs or whatever, and I mailed it off, dude. I remember I got a whole box, and this was when Korn was really popping off in '97. I remember my dad saw I got that stuff in the mail, and he didn't care about me getting that stuff. But yeah, Testicles, Norma Stitz, exactly. But I remember him like looking at me because Korn was the biggest trending band right now, and I got all the Korn CDs. And
Oh,
I
nice.
didn't have any. He's like, you got all the fucking Korn albums? Like, are you an idiot? Like, you don't even know if you like this shit. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I remember I didn't get Follow the Leader. I don't think, maybe Follow the Leader Follow the Leader wasn't out yet. I don't think.
I'm surprised
But,
your dad didn't try to scam him and do that too.
Oh, probably. I'm sure he did. I mean, I wasn't like his keeper. He ended up with CDs too. He probably did that too, because everybody would do that. You'd burn. I did it to both. There was Columbia House, and who was the other one? WGA. There was another one. Was it like there was Columbia House and like WGA, or I don't know, whatever. There was two of them, and I ran them both of the ringer. And anyway, I remember my first load though. I had Korn self-titled. I had Life is Peachy. I got Nirvana Unplugged and Nirvana from the Muddy Banks of Wishkah. And I got oh gosh, I don't know why I'm struggling to remember the rest of them, because I had like 10 albums. But those are the ones I remember the most for some reason. And that was cool, dude. I was hooked on CDs from that point, man. And then I remember, so did you ever do those like subscription services and get anything?
No, I didn't, but one of my good friends did. So
You didn't live. That's all, dude. Can you imagine? Like, you never got anything as a kid because you don't have money.
I thought it was a scam personally, but I don't know.
I was too young.
I didn't know
too young.
collections were gonna come after me.
You were thinking about collections as a kid, dude.
Well, I didn't know, dude. I didn't know how it worked. I mean,
When I was like a little kid, I'm not thinking about scams and collections. Literally, it was all you had to do was rip out the little thing. It's already postmarked. Like, you didn't have to get your own stamp. Like, literally, they were just making it easy for a kid to do. Like, you don't even have to go to your mom to buy you a stamp or pack it in an envelope. You just tear it out in the dotted line. It's already prepaid. You write on there the albums you want and put your address. Pop it in your mailbox. That's all you had to do. And then I don't remember how long.
I should have done that.
That's all you had to do. And CDs back then were gold. And you didn't really get a lot of stuff when you were a kid because you didn't have any money. But can you imagine how cool it was when you got a package in the mail addressed to you and it was just loaded with like 13 CDs? It was like, what?
Well, so how would they make any money though?
They went out of business, Todd.
Even buying that one album, how do you even buy that one album?
It was the worst honor system ever. Basically, they'd send you like 12 CDs. So basically, the marketing, I think, was 13 CDs for the price of one. So just select 12 CDs and we'll send them to you free as long as you promise to buy your 13th CD in the next year at full price.
Oh yeah,
but they didn't hold you to it.
Yeah,
there was nothing to hold you to it.
Okay.
And it's a meme. Everybody knows about the Columbia House days and stuff like that, and everybody ripping them off. So they tank. I mean, they're not around anymore. I mean, so I don't know who thought that was just a great idea. But the time it could never work today. It's kind of like how back in the day you used to pay hotels with cash.
Yeah.
Right? There's no liability. What do you do if someone fucks up your hotel room?
Yeah.
You know what? You don't have anything. You could be Testicles signing into a hotel room, but you could be Norman Bates, some serial killer, and pay with cash. And there's like no record. Now it's like that you have to have a card on file.
They should go back to the honor system, I think.
So I could steal from them too. I could get some records, dude. I want Columbia House to come back with vinyl, dude. Give me 12 free vinyl. I promise I'll buy. Well, you know what though? I mean, even if they held me to it, I would still do that. Yeah, I'll buy one vinyl at
What were they
price.
charging for one CD then? Were they charging like $50 for one?
No, probably no. They were. It was normal retail.
Oh, it was normal.
There was no scam to it. Like it was too good to be true, and it was.
Yeah, that's probably why I never did it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what did I have to lose? Like, I didn't even tell my parents about it. I just ripped it out and put it in the mailbox, put the flag up. And like I said, I don't know how many weeks later it was, but I had a whole box of CDs. My dad's like, "What
How
the
many
hell is
times
this?"
did you do that? Did you do that like
There
every
was
time?
two
every
companies.
week?
There was two big companies. There was Columbia House and WGA Music. I don't remember. Why can't I remember? I'm driving me crazy. I'm gonna figure it out. Yeah. See, Mendoza got some good CDs through Columbia House. Did you benefit as well? Did you run the racket, Mendoza, or did you actually pay? Don't tell me you paid. No, don't tell me you paid. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna look up Columbia House competitor. I know I'm kind of close. Oh, I can't find it.
Oh, they had a DVD club too. I didn't know that.
Columbia House might still be around, and they just changed model. I don't know. Yeah, so he didn't pay. Of course not. Oh, so Todd
Eight
missed out.
8 for 1. Get 8 CDs for the price of
Oh,
one.
my mom's on. It was BMG. She's right. My mom did it. She's on. See, I did it. BMG. I know everybody did it. Okay, so Columbia House and BMG. Well, I'm telling you, I did it as like a 10-year-old. It's so funny. Yeah, Mendoza says his mom just told him to pick out some CDs. So your mom stole it on her behalf.
Oh, they had them for DVDs. I didn't know that.
I mean, Columbia House might be part of a bigger tentpole operation. They might still be around. I don't know, but that is a thing of the past. But anyway, where were we? Yeah, Columbia. Yeah, my mom's on. Yeah, we've been talking about Columbia, but BMG was the other one. I don't know why I was saying WMA. I'm thinking WGA, the Writers Guild of America. I think that's what I was trying to do. But yeah, anyway, so those were the good old days of Walkmans. But then fast forward a little bit.
I
feel
kind
like-
of want to go back to Walkmans. I'm sorry.
Go to Walkmans. Yeah, before we
No.
totally move on to CD.
Yeah, because I have a CD player. This is my first CD player. I think my dad gave me this one like 1991. I'm sharing it right now.
Oh, you want me to push it?
Yeah. Why is it showing that? Hold on.
I'm seeing your private folder. It's a private folder.
Very, very private.
Brain
Why,
scan.
why is it showing that?
Because you don't have the right window.
So
Like-
freaking stupid. I'm a boomer.
All you have to do is like select select the actual image, the photo app to share.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I'll share my.
God, you're so old.
I know, man. Sorry, dude. I've been.
And you pass your bedtime, Grandpa? Okay, it's still not here. Will you push it? Okay. Oh yeah, that's
was
classic.
1991 boombox.
I mean, that was
I
high
thought that thing
tech.
was cool. Yeah,
High
'cause you had the
tech.
tape deck, and you had the
Yeah,
radio
yeah,
here. Yeah, and then you had the headphone jack, so you could just sit there and listen on your headphone. So that's my first CD player. And my first Walkman or CD Walkman was this Discman, the
That was
Sony
the-
Discman ESP.
So we're moving on now.
What?
So now you want to. So Walkman was tape. Discman is the.
I know. I was thinking we were talking about portable CD players.
Okay, so this was a huge revelation, right? I feel like it was 8th grade when I noticed everybody on the school bus having these Discmans, and everybody would get the Sony branded disc. I mean, obviously, there was a bunch of competitors that came out, but everybody in our middle school had these, except for me, of course, and even into high school. And these things, dude, you had to lay them flat in your palm.
They skipped all the time.
They skipped all the time. Todd's doing that thing again. I don't know if it's because you introduced your screen, but you're really delayed. Just hop out and hop back in, and I'll keep chatting. But yeah, I mean, those early models, they weren't super practical because you couldn't actually hold them on your side. Because I swear it's like you'd hear the disc grinding or it would skip, and to me it was so bad it just left the door wide open for the competitors to come out with anti-skip technology. All right, and it became like this big dick measuring contest. It was like video games with bits, where it really didn't mean anything. It's like, oh, this has 16 bits. Oh, this has 32 megs. Like, oh, the ours has 32 bits. And they would just. Are you showing more pictures or no?
I didn't know if you wanted me to keep that up or not.
We'll try it. But we don't have to keep that up. But I'm just saying, like, these things they would just skip all the time, and they weren't the most practical things in the world. And then everybody else started coming out with competitors, and they introduced the anti-skipping technology, which they were just marketing.
Anti-shock, yeah, kind of
Anti-shock, and
yeah.
but they were marketing it like bits, right? Like in gaming systems, like, oh, this has 8 points of anti-shock protection, or oh, it's got 10 skip. Everything had to have a bigger number, and I don't think any of it meant anything. But I had a JVC Discman knockoff, and it was awesome. It had great anti-shock, dude. I remember everybody on the school bus. I remember guys like Saxon and all those guys. They were jealous of mine. They
Really?
they would have loved to have had mine, because they all were walking around with these ghetto pieces of shit. That were just skipping nonstop. My stuff,
Base.
I would keep. Mine had the Mega Bass. It had like a bass boost on there, and it just sounded better. And like I could keep that thing, and it was built like a brick. It was sturdier. Those things were flimsy, dude.
Oh yeah,
Really flimsy. And you had one, and I would like look at mine, compare mine. Mine was heftier than yours, and I could put mine in my cargo pants. Remember those? In the side pocket, and I'd be walking to school, and this thing would be shaking around my cargo pants. Never skipped. I mean, I had so many seamless front to back listens of hot dog flavored water in that bad boy JVC. I wish I still had that JVC. it was awesome, dude.
You have to search eBay. I'm sure it's on there.
I would love to have. I wish I had the original, but I also, during that whole era of me walking to school and really bonding with CDs and albums. I mean, that was to me my golden era of music. Oh, that was just. I had nothing else to do but walk. I had nothing but time, and I'd listen to my music. And you couldn't. It wasn't like MP3, so I had to pick a CD for the day. Like, what's gonna be my CD today? And you live with it. And
you bring your books to school. Yeah, you would have the CD books, and you bring them in your backpack.
I didn't do that.
You didn't do that? I did that every day. I walked.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I don't know why. I just picked one album. I just picked one album. Like, this is what I'm hot on. I remember, like, for example, the summer going into freshman year, my album was like White Pony, right? White Pony dropped at some point, and that lived for the entire year. It lived in my JVC Discman, and that's just the way it was. And I remember the same thing. Like, I have such good memory, even albums that aren't even like amazing or super important to me. I remember like getting to know our buddy Travis, and I remember listening to Soulfly Primitive. I remember that, and I would just listen. Whenever I had a record, I would usually like listen to it for like a whole week, and then I'd move on. I remember getting into Pantera that way. I remember I borrowed Travis's like Far Beyond Driven. Like, he lent me records, and which may or may not have been Pat's. I don't know.
They were probably Pat's, yeah.
And I remember I listened to Far Beyond Driven, man. I wore
System
that thing
down.
Well, I remember I bought Toxicity. So that's why that era is so important to me, because I really bonded with those records. It was just me and those albums, like, while I was walking in my head, and they were really great, and they were so cool. Same thing with Seasons in the Abyss. I wore that one out too. I mean, Metallica's a given. Metallica was always in rotation, but they were all like that. And then I know back in the day we talked about, we had mixtapes. I had mixtapes when we recorded off the radio, but you could do that with the introduction of the CDR, the rewritable CD. And I remember I was trying to look for them. I could have swore they were in these, but they're not. They must be in another one I have. I have some smaller ones, but these things are loaded to the gills with CDs, like double stacked. Like,
really?
Oh yeah. And I
Where's
was
the cases?
You trying to bring up bad memories? Okay, so
look, sorry, never mind.
This is the first time I've opened these since I lost all the cases.
Oh, okay.
And I just like am in denial. I didn't want to look in them, because it's like I blew the dust off these things, and I opened them today to look for your mixtapes that either you gave me or I stole. I don't know, returned and came back. But anyway, I opened them, dude, and like before, like right before we were record this podcast, I was getting ready. I was having a moment, dude. I was really sad going through all these CDs, and I'm like, dude, I have so much stuff, and the memories, dude, it's so great. And I don't have the cases anymore. It made me really sad. I get it. It's a lot.
Cases take up space. Who cares about the cases?
Yeah, but I would love to have a wall of those someday. That would have been so cool, like a radio,
DJ radio,
like a radio station.
You're not gonna listen to them.
I'm gonna get a ponytail, dude. Come on, babe. Like, what's like? I gotta take a pee, man. But anyway, anything and everything is in here. I have so much stuff, and I had stuff in here that I forgot I had, like that I got sort of in the last couple of years, because I kind of stopped buying CDs. I mean, pretty much when I moved to Arizona, I just kind of stopped, and then I bought a couple because it's just like I got really into Spotify. Right, Spotify, like in like 2000, I think since 2014, the only albums I bought physical were probably like the third Mumford and Sons record. I bought Slipknot, Point Five,
Metallica, Hardwired.
No, I got Hardwired free with the concert ticket.
So did I. Yeah.
And then I think in 2016, I got like Dystopia, Megadeth. I bought the last Anthrax record. I mean, that's it. It's really just a small handful. Maybe there's a couple I'm missing, but like I'm talking over the course of like 8 years. That's not a lot. I stopped, and but now it's like I wish I could. Now every time I go to a Goodwill, I try and pick up stuff I used to have if I can find it. Right?
They don't. I can never find anything good anymore at Goodwill.
Yeah, it's tough, but anyway, I couldn't find them, but I do have them, and I've got two in particular, and one of them has his name. You wrote West on it. Not like someone was going to steal your mix CD, which that was smart. CDRs, man, like because back in the day, Todd talks about bringing his CD book and stuff. And no, dude, people would like break into cars and steal CDs.
No, they'd be in my backpack the whole day.
I mean, like people still, I wouldn't even want to trust taking them to school because I know it sounds. They're all filling landfills today. Nobody can give away CDs today. But back then, for a kid, that's currency. I knew kids that were like shoplifting CDs from Kmart. That was the place he stole from. And people were like stealing entire CD books out of car windows and stuff. And the thought of that just like frightened me. So I could see how like getting CDRs and like copying some of your stuff and just having copies was like a great backup. And then later on, they had CDRWs, right? That could hold more. Right, and you put the files on there and stuff. But anyway, I would listen to a couple of these mixtape CDs or whatever, and I bonded with those things just like they were like real albums. I know the sequencing and everything. And my favorite one, like I said, it just says West on there, and it's got this is a story of a girl, 9 days. I don't like that. It's terrible. It's such a dated mixtape.
Yeah, it was probably something that was hot at the time.
Absolutely. That was when there was a one hit wonder. Yeah. I don't know why, but I feel like, did you have like Boys in the Hood, Dynamite Hack on there? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, yeah.
But then it had Tool H on there, and it had Ants Marching, Dave Matthews Band.
And it's random, dude.
It had. There's one track. Let me see if I get this right. It had the George Costanza, "Believe it or not, George isn't at home. Please leave a message." That was one of the tracks.
Oh, that was all Napster stuff, yeah.
And I remember the track that was it was segged so perfectly after the track with the where could I be? Believe it or not, I'm not home. And then it goes right into Man in the Mirror. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, yeah. Gonna make it. It worked so well, and I listen to those fucking CDs all the time, man.
It did fit perfectly, dude. I remember that
change because it ended with like strings, and then it went into the whole like the key. I love it though, man. I wish I want to. I don't even have a CD player right now that works or anything like that, but I would like to listen to that mix CD again. And I had another one for the longest time. And I have no idea where this is actually. I don't know if I still have this one, but I think you got it from an ex, their father. It was the Sepultura Blood Rooted.
Oh, okay.
The Blood Rooted was a Sepultura collection that had outtakes from Roots and live stuff and covers. And he had given you like a CDR, like a copy, and I just got it from you. and I had it for just a year. I listened all the time, and actually, that ruined Roots for me because that has the best version of Roots on there, the demo, because it's so much faster. And then like when
Mhm.
you listen to Roots on the album, it's slow. I'm like, I don't like this as much. But yeah, I love it. Do you have any good memories? Another one, not that one, but the other one. The other one I'm talking about had the Techno Terminator 2.
Oh
Terminator.
yeah, yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Did it have the techno Braveheart song?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. Yeah. Did you have any? Do you have any memories like that with like any particular mixtapes?
Yeah, well, not really mixtapes, but I remember back in what was this? This might have been high school. Yeah, it was high school. I ended up one of my teachers was kind of a younger guy, and he was really big into heavy metal, and he was telling me about Pantera, and I'm like, yeah, I've been listening to Pantera now for a few months, and he's like, oh man, like we just bonded over Pantera, the teacher, and then I ended up burning him some Pantera albums
I think I
so he
remember
can have them.
this.
Yeah,
You
and
told me that.
he was all excited. I think he was more into like Cowboys from Hell era, but of course I gave him Great Southern Trendkill.
Sandblasted skin, dude.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, he really enjoyed it. I thought that was kind of funny that my teacher was into Pantera. Pretty
Yeah,
hard.
and you spoke about it. So you were making these mixtapes. Yeah, anybody making mix CDs, they were doing it with Napster or LimeWire or whatever,
Napster.
and
Yeah.
that was the rise of that. I I didn't miss that era because, like I said, I partook in getting like the mixtapes from Todd or whatever, but I didn't have a computer. But I would go to your house and I would see downloading a track, dude. How long it take to download a dang track?
Well, maybe like what, 15 minutes, 20 minutes?
Did it take that quick?
It might have taken longer. I don't know. I can't remember.
I feel like you'd be booting something and we'd go somewhere and come back and it'd be done. Like it just took
Yeah,
so
it might
long.
take hours. Yeah, it could.
It was
Yeah.
it was ridiculous, man. But that really changed everything with Napster and stuff like that. Did you? But even in those days, you still bought CDs because
Yeah,
Napster,
I did both. I did both.
Napster and stuff, and that was not a replacement because you
The
had to
quality
earn
was
it,
horrible too.
and you would get tricked, right? You
Mm-hmm.
you trust the file was what it said, like it could say, Dave Matthews Band Tripping Billies, but then when you download it, it's somebody's shitty fucking local band
Pip
trolling
Farner
you.
or snare drum or something.
Or someone's like, yeah, or there's all kinds of metal bands that were trying to get their music out there that would put Metallica, Master of Puppets, or whatever, just to get you to fucking listen to it. But yeah, and you'd have to wait. You'd invest and roll the dice, and come home 5 hours later, and hopefully you got what you wanted. But yeah. Anyway, obviously that got a lot more in depth and people. I don't have that much experience with torrents. I think my brother put a couple of torrents on my computer like when I was a little older. Like I remember when I was like 20, 21. It just wasn't my thing, man, because it was just inviting all kinds of fucking malware. Like I don't like this.
Yeah, it definitely changed. I haven't done that since Napster, but
And then obviously, like I said, I was buying CDs pretty hardcore up until I'd say 2014. It slowed down and dried up after that. I think before I moved to Arizona, the last CDs I bought were Black Sabbath 13, that last album they put out, and Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, AIC. Right. And then I forgot when I was looking through the CD books, I could tell what were the later CDs I ended up bought because they were just like they're all crammed out because everything was in order for the longest time. I was so like meticulous about it. But then I turned to the back pages of these books and I've got like double, triple stacked of just crammed CDs. And on the back page is like the Phil Anselmo Soul CD with a thumb down. And I got that like in 2014. Like, oh, it's awesome. But
speaking of CDs, I have some CDs. Let me grab a stack and just show
Okay.
ones I picked up at Goodwill.
I got some too that I bought for like a quarter.
Yeah, yeah.
Mendoza, you got rid of all your CDs, you transferred them to digital. Yeah, I get it, man. I was all about the Spotify too.
Yeah, I occasionally when I go into Goodwill, I I always check their CD section. They're usually a quarter.
I always do. I always look to go ahead and show off. I
I
have another stack in my closet. I'm not going to get that one. But
I know. I just grabbed a small one. So.
These are my newest ones that I've gotten my last 2 trips.
This is an awesome soundtrack. I love the soundtrack.
Yeah, I remember you liking that.
Dumb and Dumber. Let's see. Razorblade Suitcase.
Swallowed.
Pilgrim.
Oh, great! I love it. My favorite Clapton album.
Clint Black's Greatest Hits.
They always have that. They always have. They always have it. I have it too.
Dwight Yoakam. I like Dwight Yoakam.
Cigar Cadillacs in.
See, this is the best of Eric Clapton.
Yeah, timepiece or something, whatever. That's like an old greatest hits. It doesn't go very far.
Doors 2 Disc, which is a great album. Greatest Hits. Heart Greatest Hits. I love Heart.
How do I get you alone?
I don't even know who these guys are. Cowboy Junkies.
You just like the name?
Yeah, I thought it sounded interesting. Live.
They can't give those away. I always see Secret Sumati, dude. Always.
This is one of my favorite albums. Jock Jams. Volume 1 was Volume 2. Yeah.
Does that have I like to move it?
Welcome to the Big Show. No Limit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something New. Coolio did.
Awesome.
Yeah, it has a lot of good techno stuff too. I have this on vinyl too, but this is my favorite Phil Collins album. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
T for Tillerman. Cat Stevens. Eye in the Sky, which is a fantastic album.
And you have a CD player.
Yep.
I kind of wish I had one.
ELO.
Nice.
New World Record. And then
you found some good
El Dorado.
Stuff.
Yeah.
You found some decent finds.
Yeah.
I'll show you mine. I guess I'll start with this. I told you.
Listen, that's awesome, dude.
You always see them. Man.
I get that too. I would.
I have it on vinyl too, actually. I love the Aladdin soundtrack. But yeah, like these are. It's so crazy what people pay for records now, and I'm going to Goodwill and paying $0.25 for these. And some of these I have on vinyl, and it's like it really doesn't make sense. Like you paid how much for this, but you have it on CD, which is arguably a better format, and you paid $0.25 for it.
No, I understand. This is sickness.
Enya, Day Without Rain.
That's a great album.
I love it. I love
Enya.
Enya.
That's everywhere and every.
Yeah, and I probably have more in here too. Yeah, you can find Enya.
Is there Josh Groban you're gonna pull out too? I'm sure that's gonna be in there.
U2, All That You Can't Leave Behind. I have a love-hate relationship with modern U2, but
I don't like U2.
Pretty much from this album on, literally it's either great or it's dog shit. But this album, Beautiful Day is a great song. Stuck in a Moment You Can't Get Out Of is an awesome song. It's worth it for those alone. Speaking of U2, you can't give this one. You always see this one everywhere too.
Yeah.
How to Dismantle. Same thing, man. This album has some shit on it, but there's a few songs that are just awesome. Like Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own is awesome. City of Blinding Lights is fantastic. Like they just have a few good songs, like literally 2 or 3. Oh yeah, now we're getting good. Now we're cooking with fire. Enigma with Sadness on it, dude.
Oh, that's
Return
great.
Innocence.
Yeah, that's a great.
I wanted this box. I was talking about it earlier, right? How you kind of wait the box sets out to go to get cheaper because you roll the dice that people aren't really going to shell out this money. They released an Enigma vinyl box set last year, and I'm like, I don't want to pay $250 for this, but I would have loved to have had. I'll wait for it to go down, and I flew too close to the sun on wings of pastrami because now it all sold out, and now it's in the aftermarket for like $350. Like and I would love to get. I think you can now. It's kind of hard to find the individual records they re-released, which I would just settle for that. But you can't even find all those. But I love Enigma.
I would have probably gotten that too. That's a great album.
The Gandhi soundtrack. It's all Ravi Shankar.
Oh,
I never heard it, but I'm like, you know what? Why not? I'll get the.
I picked up remember The Chant when that was popular.
The Chant.
Yeah,
Gregorian chant.
yeah. It's just like all the monks or whatever chanting.
Yeah, Gregorian
whatever.
chant, like throat singing.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mongolian
picked
throat
that
singing.
up, dude. Yeah, it's
I love it. Well, that's why I
ridiculous.
like. That's why I like a lot of the Enigma stuff that has the world music influences and a lot of
Yeah,
stuff, like Sadness.
I love that, dude.
Braveheart.
I love that soundtrack.
Fucking dude,
Score. Yeah.
James Horner is brilliant. R.I.P. Great flick. And I always check them too, like if they're cracked. I always got to look
Oh,
at these
yeah.
CDs. I'm not even gonna waste a quarter on something that's like broken. Um. Oh yeah, here we go. Not the best greatest hits that he has, but I still got it. Brian
Oh,
Adams.
Yeah.
This is so far so good. I mean, this has Summer '69 all the way to like Please Forgive Me. I like his anthology he put out. That was like
Does that have
that's-
Only the Strong Survive? That's one of my favorite Brian Adams songs.
Mm-mm.
This is from Problem Child too.
Summer, no, that's not anywhere. This is Summer '69, Straight from the Heart. It's Only Love. Can't Stop the Thing We Started. Do I have to say the words this time? Run to You. Heaven cuts like a knife. Everything I do for you. Somebody. Kids Want to Rock. I don't like that song. Kids Want to Rock. Heat of the Night and Please Forgive Me. So
Ooh,
I liked
Give Me nice.
I liked his anthology that was like double disc and had everything. Okay, I never liked this band. I was never into this band, but for some reason I picked this up a couple weeks ago when we went to Goodwill for a quarter. The last Linkin Park album before Chester hung himself.
Oh, really? I never even listened to that.
One More Light, dude. I was like, what? I don't know. It was just like, why not? Oh, here we go. Hell yeah, dude. Enya Watermark. This is probably her best album.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it's got Storms in Africa, Orinoco Flow. It's probably her biggest one, right? Sail away, sail away, sail
that
away.
album. Yeah, yeah,
It's the
okay.
biggest one.
Yeah.
This is good. U2 War, right? This shit's got Sunday Bloody Sunday, New Year's Day. It's good stuff. Trans Siberian Orchestra, Clapton Unplugged. I'm gonna go fast now. I really don't like REM, but I got this. Eponymous. I don't even know what's on this. I'm just not a big REM guy, even though I liked. I had that was one of the cassette.
I like
tapes
a lot of
had.
their singles. Yeah.
That was one of the cassette tapes I got from that garage sale where I got I got Automatic for the People. And I did listen to that. At a Time. You find a lot of REM at these places. You see this a lot. Sting, Brand New Day.
Oh yeah, all the time.
But I love Desert Rose. Desert Rose, and yeah, that fucking song.
Josh Groban Awake, I think, is the one I see the most.
Oh, I see. You self-titled. You Raise Me Up. That's the one you see. For me.
I
Let's
see
see.
the other one, but whatever.
Got the Say Anything soundtrack.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is great, man. All for Love by Nancy Wilson, Cult of Personality, Living Color. You got Joe Satriani, you got Cheap Trick on here, you got Chili Peppers, and of course In Your Eyes. Depeche Mode's on here, Fishbone, The Replacements, awesome stuff. Oh, here we go. Another Sting album. They just can't give away Sting, dude. What do we have here? Is there any like hits on this one? No, this is probably one of his like random throwaway 90s records, late 90s. I don't care. Oh yeah. It's kind of cool when I pick up CDs I don't think I actually ever owned originally when I find it Goodwill. Riding with the King.
Oh,
B.B. King and Eric Clapton. I don't think I ever really owned it. Look, sometimes you just don't know if you own something or not. I got this again, and I didn't realize I had it. I'm seeing I have 2 copies of Watermark Enya.
I gave your mom a
Ultra-
copy.
She doesn't like Enya, dude.
No.
All right. Oh, Elton John, Love Songs. It's just a collection of his love songs. It's
Absolutely.
they was really pumping out these greatest hits and shit in the 90s, man. Can you? But this is great because it has the Lion King tracks on it. Can You Feel the Love Tonight opens it, and Circle of Life closes it. But there's some deep cuts on here that you're not going to find on other ones. Yeah, good stuff. I like Elton. I got a couple more here. Okay, speaking of the man earlier, man. Oh, God, they're all stuck together, dude, because those Goodwill stickers are murder.
Yeah.
I bought some Goo Gone, and I'm just dreading going through all these and just like cleaning them up. But Peter Gabriel, man, Shaking the Tree. I love Peter Gabriel. Yeah. This says this is Salisbury Hill. This is before So the record that came before In Your Eyes.
I don't think I've heard that one.
Oh yeah, Salisbury Hill. You know Salisbury Hill, the song.
I can't think off the top of my head.
Dun, dun,
Sing
dun,
it to me.
dun, 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 dun,
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, Salisbury Hill. Yeah. And then Genesis Invisible Touch to round us out,
Nice.
which I love this record. All right, so yeah, like I said, man, I just to soothe my soul and to repair the damages. I know I'll never find. I'm not going to go there and find Viking Crown and replace that case. But you know, I get what I can. So anyway, it's so funny that we went all these places. We went from cassettes to CDs to LimeWire and Napster to CDs, and then stopping because streaming took over. I eventually jumped on board hardcore with Spotify when I moved to Arizona. I'm like, because I would go to the gym and stuff, and I'm like, it was a pain in the ass because I was buying all, I was taking all my CDs and I was ripping the MP3s to iTunes.
That's awful. Yeah, yeah.
And I have so many at that point. I had so many CDs, and I had the iPod. I still have an iPod. I need to see if someone will buy it, like a 7th generation iPod. It's actually pretty cool. Thing it was loaded with space, and I had like my entire catalog on there and more. And I love this thing. I love my iPod. I traveled with it.
Mm-hmm.
That iPod I took to Europe, I took to Asia, and I lived with that because I didn't have smartphones then. And I just lived with it. It was so great, man. And so the next logical step going from an iPod is Spotify, because I was a purist. I loved listening to my CDs, one CD at a time. But the iPod generation warmed me up to having all this music in one place. It was still my music that I owned, that I ripped personally. So it's like, okay, this is not too much different than just ripping it on like a CDR, because before that I would drive around town, I'd buy the CDRWs, and I'd put on, you know, they'd be a little bit compressed, but I'd load on like 5 albums on one disc. My whole car was littered with just writing CDs, like, oh, this is this album's, like this album's this album, this. And you know, as time went on, we were able to consume more music. It wasn't just like one CD anymore. It's like, okay, well now it's like a CDRW, and I can have 5-6 records at a time. And then now I have the iPod. But since I got babied with that iPod, and I had so many good memories, dude. So many long overnight bus trips, dude, like in Europe and shit like that, and trains and stuff. This listening to, it was awesome. And then so naturally, I think it was 2014 or so when I moved to Arizona. I just jumped into Spotify. I'm like, this is just like my iPod except bigger, and I don't have to rip anything else to get this. Because I went from the iPod to putting music on my phone, because it's like, okay, well, I don't want to go to the gym and carry 2 different things now, because now I have smartphones, and I don't want to carry an iPhone. It's just too much. I'll just put, but then you run into space issues. So it's like I had to cycle albums out. You know, I'd have quite a bit, but eventually I'd have to delete shit, plug it into my, it just became such a hassle. But like I said, I was just getting closer and closer and closer to just embracing streaming more. And then I was all in on Spotify. I'm like, this is awesome. And I still do love Spotify. I use it.
Oh, I do too.
I'll always use Spotify. I listen to Spotify still. I listen to records, but sometimes I sit here and I got these nice monitors here, and I put on something obscure I can't find on vinyl, and I listen to it that way. So I like both. I kind of like, which brings us back to vinyl, because vinyl came back. I never had records growing up. That was past my time. In fact, I'd go to Goodwill all the time, and I'd see old ass records. I'd be like, oh, who wants that? I'd even see records of stuff I liked, like Billy Joel and stuff like that. Like it was basically how CDs are now.
Mm-hmm.
Now these used to be gold, and now it's like they're a quarter, 50 cents. That's the way records were. And it's just all about perspective. But now they're hot again, and they've been on the rise and popular for a decade. And now it's like, that's the only physical media that sells. Now that's like 25, some of those old records go for a mint, man. So now it's just ass backwards. But so I went from not buying any music for the better part of like 8 years and just paying for Spotify, to getting bit by the vinyl bug a couple years ago. And on one hand, it's cost me a pretty penny. I mean, like it's not a cheap hobby, but on the other hand, it's made me fall in love with music again.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
I still love music, man. I still love music the same, but I didn't I didn't appreciate it the same way. I still loved new albums come out. I'd listen to them on Spotify. I'd go on runs and I'd go to the gym, and I still loved them and enjoyed it. But like, I don't know. I start now. I look at music again. I got the Black Sabbath box set. It's different, man. I'll put on that box set and I'll go through every record in it, and I will look at the posters. I will look at the inserts. They come with huge booklets. I'll read them, and it kind of gets me somewhat closer to the way I was when I was a kid, you know, really, really, really consuming it. So we're just kind of backwards now, but I like it though. I've grown to love the way vinyl sounds.
hmm
I like it. I love the way they look. I like the arts, you know, I'm all for it, but
No, it's great, man. Vinyl, like I'm not like I rather collect movies, which I do more, but the vinyl that I do have is stuff I absolutely wanted. I mean, I pick up stuff here and there still, but not like I was. So
yeah. But will there be a time when this all gets old? I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Uh, all I know is what will this stuff be worth by the time I'm tired of it? Because I shudder to think how much my CDs cost me over the years. Like if I could have every dollar I ever spent on all these CDs that are in these booklets and everywhere, I could put a kid through college probably. Because it's crazy, man. I used to pay 15, $20 for new albums, and just now, dude, it actually hurts my soul to see this for a quarter.
yeah,
It's like, God,
yeah,
this CD would cost like $15 at least
yeah.
back in the day. It kills me, man. But
Watch CDs come back. I'm sure they will.
I don't know, man. Why would they? The only reason
I don't
vinyl
know.
came back is because the novelty of the big art and stuff like that. This never had that.
I'm
Honestly,
next, or is the generation that actually
it
grew up
could.
with CDs, a little bit of CDs, and then it kind of got phased out. So
Well, and you can't argue the quality because now you can get seamless FLAC audio, right? Like all the streamers I think now offer premium where you get just above CD quality sound, you know, if you can handle the bandwidth and you have the, you know,
hmm,
I don't know. Whereas vinyl offers something different. Like it might not be better, but it's definitely different
yeah,
than everything else. Like you can't really capture what vinyl does on a streamer or anything like that. So
not at
I
all.
I don't know. I mean, I'm if I can find stuff for 25 cents, 50 cents, I'll keep picking it up, but anyway, I think that's where we're at for the music. Is there anything else you want to wrap up by saying?
No,
What
not
was your
really.
favorite era? If you had to go back in time and stay in one like time period, year or two, you know, and
It
that's the technology you had, where would you go back? Where would you be
in
happiest?
my lifetime,
Yeah. Yeah.
probably maybe 97 or 98, right when I started getting into VHS, buying VHS tapes and CD or DVDs, like
Okay.
right around then.
So that's like your happy medium. So you're stuck in 1997. So you're okay with just living with DVDs, but you have CDs.
Yes,
You're never going
absolutely.
to see Blu-ray.
Yes.
But at the time, but you know, you don't really know any better. CDs are
Yeah.
rocking your face
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
What if you were conscientious that you went back in time and you're spoiled by 4Ks and OLED TVs and all that stuff, but then you had to go live in 1997
That would be
and
torture.
but would you get used to it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean,
As much as I love the quality, I'm in it for the movie. I love the movies, you know. So
yeah.
or the
I think
music. You know.
I think it's really hard watching DVDs now.
I still watch DVDs. It's not that big of a deal to me. I mean, I can go from 4K to DVD. I can't do VHS anymore. Yeah.
That I don't understand. I mean, I'm not going to knock it because I collect certain things, but I don't understand the whole VHS collecting thing personally. But it's no different than vinyl, I guess. People
Yep.
love having like their little TV in their office. That's an old just little tube TV, and they like the way an old shitty VHS looks. I don't know. They
It's
like the track,
nostalgia. Yeah.
the pops, the tracking. I guess that's the thing. So you know, here's hoping I never get bit by that bug because I don't have space, and I'm just not really nostalgic for tapes anyway. But all right, guys, well that'll be it. I think we're gonna do one more part because we have to tackle games. And that one,
Yeah.
of course, goes through quite a big stretch too. Obviously, you go all the way from like the Atari stuff, which technically I grew up with a little bit. That was passed on to me. I can't wait to talk about the arcade generation and experiences at the arcade, and obviously all the way up until today, where arcades are a relic from the past, sadly. But I miss the community aspect of the arcade, the social aspect. It's the place to be, along with the mall,
Absolutely.
because they were always in the mall. But we'll talk about
We'll get
all
into
stuff.
that later.
We'll talk about all this stuff next time. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Like I said, if you guys want to join us for next week, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Central Time. Otherwise, you're listening to this the following week in an abridged, edited video. Please like the video, leave a comment on the YouTube, post a video, help us out with the algos. Please follow us on twitch.tv/Revival House, and like that smash button. Is that how they say it?
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye.